So what is greater, to memorize the Quran or to study the Quran amongst the gatherings of knowledge? Studying is better, of course, and this is a fatwa from our scholars, as it was asked to Ibn al-Mubarak, and he is the master of the believers for hadith. Do I start with memorizing the Quran? This was the question. Do I start with memorizing the Quran or seeking knowledge, or talab al-ilm? He answered, if you have what is sufficient from the Quran to pray your prayers, then start with talab al-ilm. And it has come that Imam Malik seen a man one time while there was a gathering of knowledge. He left to pray 2 rak'at. So he showed him, Imam Malik showed him what his ignorance made him do. He said to him, Ya hada, hey you, what we are doing here in this gathering of knowledge is better than those 2 rak'at that you are doing. Why? As if a man prays all day without seeking knowledge, he might fall into shirk with his ignorance and in the hellfire forever. Like the Khawarij, they are worshippers, but they didn't seek any knowledge. So seeking knowledge is mandatory, right? Seeking knowledge is mandatory, and memorizing the Quran is mustahab. Memorizing the Quran is recommended. So precede the mandatory over the recommended. And you can memorize the Quran if you want after these gatherings by memorizing it at night before going to sleep. Take a half an hour with your wife and stand with the little part that you memorized at the last third of the night to recite it. And this is a good way of memorizing, and review what you memorized during the day to not forget it. The same way you don't forget the Fatiha. Why? Because you recite it at every prayer. You recite it at every prayer, or you recite it a lot. A woman managed to memorize it at 60, right? It was mentioned that a woman was determined. She said, no, I'm not going to die unless I memorize the Quran. So she memorized it at the age of 60. Also, what happened to those seekers of the dunya when they present themselves to a masjid for a salary, saying, I know the Quran, or I'm a hafiz. But the truth is that he's not a hafiz, because he has memorized it in the past, and he don't know it as good as in the past. When if you asked him to recite a surah, he might tell you, oh, this one I need to review it a little. So then, don't say I'm a hafiz. A hafiz is capable to recite at any verse you ask him to start from, and he will go on until you tell him hasbuk, meaning that's sufficient. Wallahu a'lam, wa sallallahu ala nabiyyina Muhammad.